The girl leaned against her windowsill, pencil scratching lightly across the page. She didn't notice the sudden movement across the street. "That's my view," the woman barked, pointing sharply. "Take it down, now." The girl froze, whispering, "It's just my drawing." The father appeared behind her, silent, hands resting on the car hood. He lifted his phone slowly. "Hold pushback. Do not escalate," he said quietly. The woman's eyes narrowed, steam rising. She opened her mouth, paused, then clenched her jaw. No one moved. The street held its breath. The father's hands rested on the car roof, fingers barely moving. He didn't flinch as the woman shouted across the street. "Move that away! Now!" she demanded. He stayed silent, watching. His daughter's voice trembled. "Dad, should I—" He shook his head slightly. "No. Let it be." The woman's glare sharpened. Her mouth opened, closed. She muttered under her breath, fury coiling. Inhaled slowly. Calculated. Nothing more. "That's my view! Get it off your window!" she shouted, voice sharp, cutting the quiet. The girl's lips barely moved. "It's just my drawing." The father lifted his phone slowly, calm. "Hold pushback. Do not escalate." The street seemed to freeze. Neighbors peeked. The woman's eyes widened. Nothing else was said. The woman's mouth opened, then closed. Her eyes widened. The father didn't move. "It's just a drawing," the girl whispered, voice steady. Steam curled from the woman's face. She clenched her fists, muttered something under her breath. Neighbors leaned behind blinds, silent. No one spoke. The street waited. Power balanced on quiet restraint. "They laughed again today," the girl whispered, voice tight. The father nodded slowly. "I saw." At school, teachers just shrugged. "Kids will be kids," one said. A neighbor's gaze skimmed past her, silent, avoiding acknowledgement. The police officer glanced at the report, flipped through pages. "We'll file it," he mumbled. The HOA email arrived. "Sorry, but nothing actionable." The father exhaled quietly, steadying himself. "Let them act as they will. We hold the line." He watched her small hands clutch her sketchbook, each slight humiliation etched into memory. "Are you sure? They'll make a scene?" the reporter whispered into her phone. An internal affairs officer shifted. We can't ignore this." Two delivery workers exchanged glances. One muttered, "They've been watching us for weeks." The girl's voice trembled slightly. "Why do they always see me as less?" The father didn't respond, only watched. Silence stretched across the street, heavy, expectant. Every glance, every confession, every hesitation chipped away at the woman's facade, revealing the quiet power of dignity against entitlement. "Dad, should I say something?" the girl whispered. He shook, his head slowly. "No, let it be," the woman muttered, gesturing at the window. "This is ridiculous." A neighbor peeked, then withdrew silently. The father lifted his phone slightly. "Ops are watching. Stay calm." Murmurs rose from delivery workers on the street. The woman's fists clenched, jaw tight. "I can't believe this," she hissed under her breath. Time stretched. Cameras recorded every gesture, every flicker of anger. Patience became power. Silence became strategy. The first shift in the street had begun. "Dad." "They're watching," the girl whispered. He straightened slightly. "Let them." A neighbor peeked through blinds, then muttered to another, "Did you see that?" The woman's hands tightened, but her anger looked smaller now. "They can't just ignore it anymore," the first neighbor said under their breath. The girl's voice was steady. "I won't hide?" The father nodded, calm, letting the street absorb the tension. Whispers spread, eyes shifted, and hesitation replaced certainty. Microaggressions were no longer invisible. Privilege wavered. The street itself had become a witness, quietly tipping the balance toward dignity. "Do you see them watching?" the girl whispered, clutching her sketchbook. He shook his head slightly. "Let them notice." The woman's fist tightened, her jaw locked. "This isn't fair," she snapped, voice cracking. A board member exchanged a glance with a colleague. "She's unsettled," he murmured. A reporter scribbled, barely breathing. The father's voice, quiet, cut through. "Respect, nothing more." She faltered, gestures slowing. Neighbors shifted in their seats, cameras catching each twitch. Every eye followed her, entitlement unraveling silently. No one spoke. The room itself held its breath, weighing dignity against arrogance. "We're asking only for respect," the father said, voice low, steady. "Not confrontation, not retaliation." The girl held out her sketchbook. "This is mine. It's just a drawing." The room went still. A board member's eyes widened. We didn't realize." The woman's lips pressed tight, fingers curling, gestures slowing. Another whispered, "It's unfair." He didn't flinch. Notice it, observe. The girl's gaze held theirs, calm, unshaken. The oppressor faltered, authority cracking under quiet acknowledgement and visible evidence. Each word, each gesture, chipped away at entitlement, dignity prevailing without a shout. I don't know why this is happening," the woman stammered, fingers tightening. "You see it now?" the father asked quietly, voice steady. Her lips pressed, a forced smile flickering, hands fidgeting. A board member murmured, "We can't ignore this." Whispers rose behind her, neighbors leaning closer, cameras fixed. Each small gesture she used to assert control, the sighs, the smirks, felt exposed. The father didn't move. The girl's gaze never wavered. Power built on entitlement falters silently, measured, undeniable. The room, the audience, and the recordings watched, capturing the quiet collapse. This is hers?" a neighbor whispered, glancing at the sketchbook. "She drew it herself," the father said, calm, steady. The girl held it closer, voice soft. "It's just me. Just my drawing." The woman shifted, hands trembling, lips pressed tight. A reporter murmured, "Everything's on record now." Eyes followed, watching entitlement collapse quietly. "No shouting," the father added, tone firm, deliberate. The community absorbed the moment, silent but aware. Privilege falters when met with patience, visibility, and dignity. The girl's calm, the father's strategy, and observers' recognition made justice undeniable. "She hasn't replied again," a neighbor muttered, glancing down the street. "Emails ignored, calls unanswered." Another whispered, hesitant. The father rested his hand lightly on the window frame. The girl held a new sketch, soft colors celebrating everyone around them. "Still beautiful," he said quietly. Weeks pass. Authority erodes in silence, each drawing a statement, a quiet testament. Dignity endures where entitlement falters, unshaken and deliberate. "Did you see that? They actually responded," the girl whispered, eyes wide. The father nodded, voice low. "Things are changing, slowly, but they are listening." Neighbors glance from windows, noticing subtle shifts. Messages once ignored reach attention, rules quietly revised, microaggressions recorded. Awareness spreads, unspoken. He exhales. In this silence, truth begins its work. Measured observation, shaping recognition, dignity, holding steady. "They wanted to erase you," the father said, voice soft, steady. The girl continued sketching, never looking up. "They only show who we really are," he added, quiet but firm. Her small smile, each careful stroke, carries defiance. Silence holds meaning. Dignity cannot be taken. Resilience whispers louder than any shout. The father whispered, "Look how she watches." The girl did not reply, only held her sketchbook steady. Across the street, blinds moved, eyes lingering, no words, no outburst. Justice waits quietly, in patience and observation. Sometimes it whispers. The world notices, even in silence.